restoring a bike. Hi guys, I'm Dan at vintagevelo.org and today we are in a first of a three-part series on restoring a bicycle. What we've got here, some of you eagle-eye viewers may recognise this from the bike I rode the Clunker Challenge on. That's where you spend $100 on a bike and try and complete 100 kilometres on it. You don't have to do it in one hit. I did, I was a bit silly. But this bike was pretty good. I thought it could be a lot better though. My initial plan was to break it down for parts because it's got some excellent Shimano 600 parts on here. But then I thought, hey, this is a really good frame. It's made of Vitus GTI, which is a Columbus TSX equivalent. So basically triple butted, we've got 0.6 millimeters in the center of the tubes and it opens out to 0.9 mil, and there's a helicoil strengthening line pulled through each tube, which makes for a very stiff, very light frame. And I really like the forks as well. It's got quite a nice sweet design to those. And I thought, well, maybe with a bit of time and effort, make a great three-part video on taking this through the restoring a bike process. And then come spring, I think we'll get out there and repeat the 100-kilometer route that we did on it last year and see how much of an improvement we can do. I'm also going to count the costs for you. I'm going to show you where every dollar gets spent, every pound gets spent on this bike, so we can total up the exact costs of restoring a bike. So we always important that one. We can you know, we'd never like to talk about Fight Club, but sometimes it's good to count the cost. Now what we're going to do here, I did do a video last year on whether you should paint a bike frame, and there were various considerations. There was one consideration I didn't really take into account, and that is when a bike is so horrendously painted. I mean, white with green splodges. Green splodges. There's not even like a real pattern to it. It's just awful. I mean, I know this, you know, we're back in the 90s here, but I don't really understand the thinking behind this. It's not done well. It is a horrendous paint job. I can only imagine they clocked off early and went home for lunch or something, but this is terrible. And what I did know at the time, this bike just screams out to be in a lovely off-white pearlescent. A deep pearl on this would look fantastic, and I think set this off really, really well. And considering the frame set, it's probably what it deserves. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull it apart in stage one, appraise the parts and see what we need to do. And then stage two, we're going to paint this in white pearl. And I love painting white pearl, so we'll take you through that process. Stage three, going to build it back up and get it ready for the road. So let's not mess around. Let's get straight on and get pulling this apart. Wheels off first. Of note, yes, I do seem to remember the cassette at the back here. Tops out at a whopping 19, I think. So I think we're going to do a bit better and swap that out at some point as well for 24, 26 for final cassette. Final drive would be very useful, I think. But there's a few other things to do on this bike as well. So let's start off, drop these wheels off. Yep, and I'll get you in there. And yes, there is our near straight cut cassette, perfect from the 90s, a favourite, but we can do a lot better than that. Tyres, I rode them at the time. They are just solid. They're dead to the touch. There's no grip on them whatsoever, but they are nice Wolber rims on here with Shimano 600 hubs. So it's going to be a great riding wheel. I've also got to rebuild something going on in this rear hub here as well, so we'll get that sorted a little later. The good thing about the seat post on this bike, as I mentioned before in previous videos, I like a good reach and stack, 78 centimeters to the hoods. This one I did adjust for the Clunker Challenge, and I know that the seat post is going to come out, and I've got it at the moment set for 78. Hopefully, you know, it'll be relatively comfortable when this is all set up. We'll wait and see, but it wasn't too bad when I did the Clunker Challenge on this. Okay, rear brake came straight off there. It's in really pretty good condition. There's plenty of life left in the springs. It's a nice dual pivot Shimano 600 as mentioned. Pads are totally shot as expected. They're running out and there's no life in those, but a consumable part, and we will get those swapped out. Okay, that's the headset off. I'm looking at the bearings and the race doesn't look too bad at first glance, but the grease is very black and very dry. So chances are a change of bearings top and bottom and a clean up and a fresh grease may fix the notchy steering issues. Other than that, that came apart quite easily. And pedals, if you remember, were also an issue. They had no grab whatsoever, but I think they will have with some adjustment. They've just gone a bit floppy, but I think there is a spring in there still, so I may have to... Oh yeah, I can see an adjustment point there. So I think these have just been adjusted to the point of no grip, but they should be all right, and I think they'll clean up fine. They certainly look good on the bike, so we'll be keeping hold of these. Excellent. Okay, so the one part I did renew for the clunker challenge was the chain, and because it uses the handy quick links, they've just popped off. So one part that doesn't need replacing is the chain. So that's the Shimano 600 derailleur off. Again, in really good condition. I quite like that. A lot of grab on the jockey wheel, so they will need to be pulled apart and have the bearings cleaned or whatever there is going on in there. I did get a lot of ghost shifting on like second, third, fourth gears. I have a feeling that will be the front shifter rather than the derailleur, and I've read up on a hack to fix that, so we're going to have a go at fixing that front shifter. They are not a rebuildable item, but hopefully we can get it all sorted out. Well, that was a fight I almost lost. These cranks were on there so tight. I had to get it off, put it in the vise just to loosen them up. Obviously, again, use your correct, simple crank pulling tool. No walloping from the back with a hammer. We've already established we can't do that on a bike frame, but they were really, really tight. But they look pretty good. Original Shimano 52 outer ring there, and an original Shimano 44, so 52, 44 on this set of rings. I think they'll clean up pretty well. There's not a lot of wear on them, on the teeth, so we'll get that cleaned a little bit later. But for the meantime, let's get that bottom bracket off. Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay, so bottom bracket is out, including drive side, which is always the hardest one to get out. Yeah, condition wise, internal bearing race face is excellent. The bearings are also excellent, so what that needs is a good clean up, degrease, and then that'll be fine to go back in. Almost there. A couple of small parts yet to come off, mainly the headset cups and our headset cup tool just here. Now these are very simple things to use. You just get them inside there. It'll sit on the top of the cup, and the only time we get the hammer out is to whop that straight out. There we are. That one's out. I'll do the same in reverse. So there we have it. One fully stripped down frame, one pile of parts on the floor ready to be cleaned up, and join me in part 2 where we tackle this horrendous paint. Thanks a lot.